What's up, everyone? This is Basil the White Dragon Masters, and today we had an excellent fight card. My review is going to be on UFC 189. Conor McGREGor versus Chad Mendes, originally supposed to be Jose Aldo. Now, guys, I gotta say that I didn't expect this. I didn't expect this to be a bloody UFC. This is probably one of the few bloody UFCs over the history that I have seen. And I've been following the sport since 1993, since it's come out. This was a very bloody card. And I can say safely that I always talk about the last three fights. Otherwise, again, as my followers and my viewers know, it's going to go on till next day. All right, so let's talk about the last three fights. Ironically, all three fights, besides the main event, were bloody. And I'm going to go into detail. I actually was, I didn't expect it to be that good. These fights were dope. And the build-up for this was phenomenal. However, I mean, the build-up for the main event was really hyped up. And it was because of the whole Aldo, Conor McGregor rift that was going on. But surprisingly, the co-main event was excellent. And the one right before the co-main event was great. It was a great fight. I mean, I really enjoyed this card this time. So, all right, guys, let's get right into it. So I'm going to go from down up, third last fight, to the main event. Dennis Bermudez versus Stephen Hayes. I actually have this here. Dennis Bermudez versus... Sorry, not Stephen Hayes. What am I saying? Sorry. Jeremy Hayes. So that fight was so bloody and it was so wild, so back and forth, that I actually stopped doing. Like, I sometimes, when the third co-main event, right before the co-main event, some of the fights, I kind of get up here and there, I'll drink some water, I'll make some tea, I'll fiddle with my phone and stuff like that. This fight started, and my eyes just lit up, and I dropped everything, and I was glued to the TV. It was so badass. There was so much wild exchanges. I mean, we're talking back and forth. You can't even tell who's winning. It's like one guy hits, then the other guy hits, and then one falls down, and that guy gets up, and then he punches the other guy falls down. It was a constant back and forth, bloody fest. And I was like, man, who is gonna win this fight? And just the way it was going, I thought that Bermudez might take this just because he had a slightly better ground game. But Stephen Hayes, why do I keep saying Stephen Hayes? What the fuck am I? Stephen Hayes is a ninjutsu coach that I train under. What am I amazed? Sorry. Jeremy Hayes, all right? Let me get his name right. Jeremy Stevens. Sorry. Jeremy Stevens was, he threw me off completely with one last technique that he did. His flying knee that came out of nowhere knocked this guy cold. There was during this fight between Bermudez and Jeremy, you're seeing, it's a constant back and forth. One guy punches the other one punches the other one, and you're like, who's gonna win? And you constantly think. But then this guy Jeremy comes out with this flying knee at the very end, knocks Bermudez cold, end of the fight. There was no comeback from that. You can't come back as a fighter. I can tell you can't come back from a flying knee. All right, guys, great fight, excellent fight. I think, in my opinion, that should win. That should qualify or be nominated for Fight of the Night, that one. Moving on to the co-main event, Robbie Lawler versus Rory MacDonald. I was with Rory MacDonald. I love Rory MacDonald. I've loved Rory MacDonald from the very beginning. He's just a phenomenal young talent. He started out very young, and he was great. He's excellent at what he does. This was obviously a rematch between Robbie Lawler. Don't get me wrong. I like Robbie Lawler as well, but I was with Rory. Just because I like his style. Amazingly, this fight went on, and I was thinking that this fight was going to end relatively in favor of. I mean, I knew the result that most likely Robbie Lawler would win, which he did. He won. But boy, oh boy, was this a fight? Bloody, bloody fight. I mean, halfway in the fight, in the beginning, Robbie picked him apart. First round or two, he picked him apart. Rory's face was bloodied up, and he broke his nose, and I was like, oh man, this fight's over. I mean, third round, this fight's going to be over. And then Rory shocks everyone, shocks me actually. I was surprised. He throws a head kick right to the neck of Robbie Lawler. And then you see Robbie like that, and you're like, whoa. And as soon as that happened, you're like, this entire thing shifted. And I was like, whoa, Rory can actually beat this guy. And Rory almost beat him. Like, there were moments in this fight where Rory almost finished Robbie Lawler. So it was an amazing fight. This should have been the fight. I think this might win Fight of the Night, even though the Bermudez Jeremy fight was great as well. But this might win Fight of the Night for the amount of. I mean, at the end of the day, with a broken nose, you can only go so far. And after Robbie, after these guys were at each other, after Robbie was cut up, he was beat up. But because Robbie had done significant damage and had broken his nose, Rory's nose, so all he did was, you can only take so many shots on a broken nose, and that's actually what did him in. I mean, he lost just because he was just done. His body couldn't take it. But I mean, amazing performance by both guys. Rory is a heck of a fighter, and I respect him tremendously as a martial artist and as an athlete. Phenomenal effort to fight with a broken nose for rounds. It's amazing. So great fight. Congratulations to Robbie Lawler. He still retains his title. I don't give a shit about Johnny Hendricks. They probably might throw him in there. I don't know. We'll see. Moving on to the main event. This is what I want to really talk about. Of course, I love the notorious Conor McGREGOR. All right, this guy is a complete mixed martial artist. Obviously, he comes from a very strong, stand-up background. You see him doing a lot of fancy moves, taekwondo kicks, capoeira, karate. This guy's a mixed martial artist, and he really adapts Bruce Lee's philosophy very well. All right, and he's Irish. I'm English, but whatever. But awesome. This fight happened, originally scheduled to fight Jose Aldo, and I was crumbled when this whole thing, when Jose got injured, and I was like, oh shit, now I gotta wait for this again. But then they threw in Chad Mendes. Now I was like, wow, this is a complete change of opponent. You have a Muay Thai type fighter like Jose Aldo removed, and on like a 2-week notice, I believe, or 2 or 3 weeks, I think 2 weeks notice, you put in a dominant wrestler. So just imagining that, like, you have to change your whole fighting style, and you're used to sparring with certain people to fight with somebody like Chad Mendes. It was a very gutsy thing for him to approve that fight from his end, and of course a very gutsy end from Chad. Chad is a great fighter himself, great wrestler. And so they did it, and the hype was great. The fight started, and he comes in, and he throws Chad up completely. Comes in solid with a spinning back kick. A very powerful technique that we have in traditional karate, in taekwondo, kung fu. All these traditional martial arts have this technique, and it's a very powerful technique. The spinning back kick to the stomach, or the spinning wheel kick. He just came in and he just went for it. So that's what knocked the air out of Chad. Honestly, Chad didn't see that one coming. It was too soon, too quick. He just comes in and boom, he hits him. So you can only take 1 or 2 of those if you're lucky. Then obviously he kept hitting him in those areas. In the middle of the fight, Chad did great. I mean, he hit Conor, and I thought in between, I believe it was round 1 or round 2, where he was punching and beating the shit out of Conor. In fact, Conor was in a lot of trouble. He can talk all the trash he wants, and he could say whatever he wants. He was in deep shit with certain moves on the ground when he was on the crucifix position, when Chad was had him on the half on the mount, okay, and it was a great fight. I was a little bit scared for Conor, but Conor proved, he backs the talk. He backed his, he doesn't just walk the walk. He doesn't just bullshit. He does it, and he finished Chad Mendes. So that question was answered about the whole, oh, can you take on a wrestler? He proved that he's a real martial artist, and he can fight. So overall, amazing card, great card, guys. Hats off to Conor McGREGOR, and of course the support that he got from his Irish fans. I felt bad for Chad Mendes, but I know he's going to be back. Now we just want to see Conor whoop Jose's ass, or Jose Aldo's ass. I can't wait to see that one. That'd be interesting. All right, guys. Now, what I'm interested, looking forward to, is obviously one of the greatest athletes that is coming to UFC 190. It's probably going to be, I think it's happening August 1st. It'll be happening in Brazil. So the hottie, gorgeous Rowdy Ronda Rousey taking on Bethe Correia in Brazil. Obviously, both undefeated, and it's something that obviously I'll be looking forward to. Knowing Ronda Rousey and seeing how she fights and how she is and her tenacity and everything, I just think that my prediction is she's going to probably win by armbar, but if she gets hit by Bethe Correia, we don't know what's going to happen there. But anyway, guys, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed my review, and we'll be looking forward for you guys. Please subscribe if you enjoyed this. Subscribe. There's a lot more kick-ass stuff I have, like martial arts short films, martial art tutorial videos that I'm going to be coming up with, just my journey overall. So, guys, I do a lot of stuff. Please subscribe to my channel, all right? And thank you for watching. Basil the White Dragon Masters, out. Hiya!